Not, you've just blown my mind because I'm looking at my life.
Yeah.
And some of the things that you've said are actually happening in my life.
There's a lot riding on men.
Oh yeah, there is. And a man does not have a blueprint of fatherhood. His description of fatherhood or manhood is distorted.
That means you'll have to sweat for everything.
And they only feel confident to talk about because they're talking with a woman, The combination of strong alpha male has always been associated with concealing your actual emotions.
Thank you for tuning in for episode 2. I can't help my smile because, episode 1 was so charismatic. It was on fire, and I'm so excited for you guys to see what we have lined up for you in episode 2. So I've got my friends back again with an addition to yet another friend who is also a mental health activist. The show is called Strong Men Cry, and our motto is, it's okay not to be okay. And as we move along with the show, we just want to share with you the suicide crisis line of South Africa, 0800 567 567. There's always someone available to you whenever you need help, 24/7. So never feel like ending your life or taking your own life is the way to go. Reach out to somebody, talk to someone, and hopefully that the conversations that we have here will show you that you're not alone, and we'll create that safe platform for you to feel more safe and come out of your shell. So, guys, I think let's give honors to the lady on set. Phyllis, welcome. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. So give us a quick introduction about yourself and what made you attracted to the topic of mental health.
Thank you so much, Arthur, for having me. Greetings, everyone watching. I'm actually very happy to be given a chance to sit with you guys and talk about mental health. I think me being here from the core, it signifies how important it is to have women as well support this cause, support men opening up, crying, not in the sense of crying, whichever form of crying, to be acceptable to us as women. Because I think us women as well are the main cause of why male fail to cry, as we demand strong alpha males, and the definition of strong alpha male has always been associated with concealing your actual emotions. I work in the ICT sector. As most of us know already, it's a very male-dominated field. And sadly to say, that's the field in which I realized there is a need for this awareness that it's okay not to be okay. You find that when you take a walk for lunch with a guy, somehow you drift into those deep conversations where someone has been bottling something up and they only feel confident to talk about because they're talking with a woman, Do you guys do that on your own? I feel abused. That's why I want all men to sort of create this platform where you guys can talk to each other, make it comfortable to look vulnerable. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you so much. No, that's very profound. And I think she raised a very important topic there, that we are drawn to speak to women because, as naturally a woman is a mother figure, it resembles comfort, right? So we, as men, we end up feeling more comfortable to open up to them, right? But also, I think with this show, we should be able to equip women on how to help their partners, their male friends, or be it your husband, your brother, when they are going through difficult times. And if we take a look back on what Gez said in the previous episode, that, it's always, I think what we tend to do as men when someone, sadly takes their own life, and then we say, no, but he didn't tell us. But you were watching that person change. You were watching that person go through series where you could identify that, look, there's something wrong with this person. There's something wrong with my friend, but we don't speak up, right? And those are some of those stigmas, barriers that we want to break down, to say, look, I should be comfortable enough to say, Gez, I've noticed that you've changed from your patterns. You post about your fitness of late. It's been 2 months. I haven't seen any video from you. Are you okay? Because that's out of character. That is a first cry of help, that you should see that someone is going through something. And by extending that olive branch, it opens up the channels of communication.
Yeah.
Right. So I think let's just get deeper into the clinical terms, right? And Gez, this is where you can take us through, what are some of those clinical, terms regarding, mental health, mental illness, and what do you see in your profession at work? What does it look out there? What does it look like?
Okay, thank you, Arthur. Thank you very much for that. Depression is a very serious disorder, and like we said in the previous episode, it's neglected.
Yeah.
The mental health is neglected. So we have depression, but this depression is broken into the mild, severe, and the profound.
Okay.
Sometimes it's major depressive disorder.
Yeah.
That's when and only the psychiatrist can diagnose you with that.
Yeah.
You can go. So now I'm going to, you also mentioned anxiety.
Yes.
Because you can have anxiety, and also anxiety can lead you to depression.
Okay.
So let's break them.
Okay.
Anxiety, it's the feeling of worry.
Okay.
You worry too much, you overthink things, and you don't have certainty of the outcome of what you're worrying about.
Yeah.
Then it brings about anxiety. There it's manifested by manifestations, sweating, palpitations. That's when you also there's lack of sleepness somewhere there.
Yeah.
And then depression, that is it's a mood disorder. That is persistent feeling of sadness, hopelessness, worthlessness. And then you leave, or you stop doing things that you were used to do. You used to do those things that made who you are. Yeah. We know, like you gave an example. Yeah. We know that you are singing. Every time we see you are singing around the house. You are singing. You are always bubbly. Yeah. But all of a sudden, that singing is no longer there. You understand? Then those are the signs that we must say, there's something wrong here. Yeah. Let's at least ask them. But again, there's a problem that where the people would be saying, mind your own business. So that's how when it happens, people will sometimes they hold back because they let's say maybe they judge themselves based on not knowing exactly what the outcome will be. When I approach you and say, Arthur, you are not longer posting your outcomes of the exercises, like you said, or you're no longer posting when you're going out and all those things. What is happening? Yeah. You understand? The thing is that signs will be there. Now let's speak about the signs and symptoms of depression. They're almost similar to the anxiety, but not. With depression, you have sleepless nights or altered sleep patterns. It's either you oversleep or you don't sleep at all, or you wake up during the night. Yeah. And then you no longer eat properly, or you don't eat at all. Then it will be shown by weight loss. Sometimes it affects your GI tract. Then that's when now you have nauseating feelings of no origin. You have headaches, unexplained headaches, and pains or muscle tension of no origin. Then and sometimes the BP goes high.
Is that anxiety or depression?
The depression, sir. The BP goes high. Because you are worrying too much. Then and you are no longer taking good care of yourself. Now you are eating junk food, too much salt,
Yeah.
too much fat. Soon, when you go to the doctor, they say there is elevated cholesterol because that's the only way you can get tested. Or if you have the lipogram machine, you can test yourself. But those are the physical part. Now we come to the psychological part. Psychological part, you have distorted thought content. That means you also can't decide. You are indecisive. You are indecisive, and you have this anger. You just, everything irritates you. Everything irritates you, and then you're going to isolate yourself because you feel like people don't understand you. And yes, they don't understand you because you haven't said anything to them. Because also you judge yourself that if I open up, they might judge me and say I am crazy. And that's not crazy because we need to speak up.
True.
So that we can curb these deaths of suicide because of depression, because suicidal thoughts also emerges. Like you said, Roger, when you isolate yourself, especially where you have means of trying to take your life, then you will see them and say, oh, this one I can use as a weapon. You understand? So that is depression. Anxiety is, especially, you see, let's say you are looking forward to an exam. Then you have that feeling of
anxiety,
nervousness. You are sweating, you are nervous. You say, oh, you don't know whether you're going to pass.
Heart palpitations.
You don't know whether you're going to pass or not.
You
understand? That is anxiety because you don't know the outcome. But that can be kept by just being calm and all. So I can give Roger to speak more about that, and then we'll come to the how to mitigate those things, because those are the signs and symptoms. Then, but there's way to curb if you find yourself in anxiety. That can be quickly solved. Yes.
No, thank you for that, Gez.
Well, thank you. You know what? You've just blown my mind because I'm looking at my life. And some of the things that you've said are actually happening in my life. So I'm thinking, am I depressed now, or is it anxiety? So, but before I even say anything, I need you to help me understand. We spoke about anxiety and depression. What about stress? What is the difference with stress and anxiety and depression?
Okay, thank you, Roger. Stress, we all have stress. On our everyday life, we all have stress. Stress is the behavioral or being unable to adapt to your challenges or to your needs. Let's say you have a car, but you don't have petrol and you have to be in town. So your needs outweighs the outcome that you need to go. That means that there is no equilibrium. Then you develop stress. That's when now, I'm unable to do this. You overthink things. Then stress can be kept as well by being proactive. Instead of saying, I don't have petrol, you think, man, I can help that guy. That guy will give me 10 rand. That one will give me 20 rand, or maybe they will fill my tank, or they will at least put 500 rand. So with stress, it's normal response to every day's happening. It's a normal response. We all have stress. But if it's persistent, then it turns into depression.
Gotcha.
So can I add on to that, right? So, due to my own experience and the research that I've done ever since I've embarked on this journey of learning more about mental health. So normal day-to-day stress, if not managed,
there you go,
turns into anxiety. And then turns into depression. So it's a chain reaction, right? And what tends to happen, and 90% of the time, we cause this to ourselves because you have a deadline at work, or you have a deadline in your project, something that you need to deliver. You procrastinate. You spend your time dealing with
other things,
everything else that is no business with what you're supposed to be doing. It's either you're on social media, it's either you are on watching your favorite series, and when you have 24 hours to go, now you tend to, let me pull in an all-nighter. I can finish this project. And when you're in the all-nighter, you realize, no, I can't, because I'm not going to finish, because I'm going to pull this all-nighter. I still have to go to work. So now you have to cut yourself up at probably around 3 a.m. Now you have to wake up at 6, so you only have 3 hours sleep, right? Now you're going to be cranky. And with those 3 hours sleep, right? Now you tend to go to energy drinks, which is also very, very wrong because that's also a trigger for palpitations, right? Now, you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yes, you can go, Phyllis.
It's quite interesting that you mentioned that because statistically speaking, men don't speak up that they are stressed, they are going through under depression. It's only later on when it's already too late, which also brings us back to the whole concept of stress, that the only reason why it became too late is it started small and you nested that problem until it hedged into a bigger issue. 1 in 8 men have actually been reported that they report that
1 in 8 men.
1 in 8 men, which is in comparison to 1 in 5 women. So we actually have 3 more men suffering in silence, unlike women. And then when it comes to actual diagnosis now, sorry, I don't know the actual figure in my head, but it's actually 35.2% of men actually end up getting diagnosed. Wow. So if you do the actual percentage, you see the discrepancy between the two. It actually moves to that 1 in 5 now diagnosis, but it was actually 1 in 8 just saying that I have a problem. So before we could even go into saying how do we embark this, at what point should you men be speaking up? It's in that small phase where your salary comes, it's not enough. I want Brazilian hair, look at me. Someone need to pay. You have to speak up at that point. Tell your partner, I do not afford this. Let us readjust our life spendings so that it doesn't push me into waking up one day and killing you. You guys have been seeing the reports. The man gave his 3 children poison, stabbed his wife, afterwards drank pills. The whole family died. That's depression. That's a man who didn't cry when he needed to, so that he could pick himself up and go on. So how are we supposed to navigate this? In clinical terms, going back to them, right? At what point do we get the first entry level clinical term of embarking this?
I think we're going to hold that point there. Gez, you answer it. So just make note of that question that you asked. I see, Rogers, you've got a lot to unpack.
I think we need to look at the root cause of why men behave the way we behave. And when I was doing research and planning for this podcast, a few things came into my mind. Number one, the definition of mental health itself. This is my own definition. My definition would be the habits that we create to create a belief system. When you have that belief system of self-worth or lack of self-worth, you then create a person that then would then react in that regard. However, it is rooted mostly in working research and looking at it, it is rooted mostly on our childhood, the environment we grew up in. You and I grew up in Amaveni, Kwekwe. Right? And it was not the most beautiful. It's like growing up in Kagiso or Soweto or Dobsonville.
Soweto is beautiful.
No, far beautiful than where we grew up, right? Our parents were doing the best they could. And to a certain degree, we thought we were rich, but we were not. We were better than other people in comparison.
Because that's the world we knew.
That's the world we
didn't know anything better.
So when a person, and I don't want to do it across the board, when a person has no blueprint, and a man does not have a blueprint of fatherhood, his description of fatherhood or manhood is distorted. Right? Let me put it this way. A man that doesn't grow up with a father or a father figure, chances of them being depressed is very high. A man who grows up with a perfectionist, chances are they're going to be
Very depressed, yeah.
A man that grows up with an abusive father, chances are they are going to be abusive, and across the board as well with women, right? Because
so what I'm hearing from what I'm taking from that is there's a lot riding on men.
Oh yeah, there is. Look here,
from the biblical era, you know, like man is the head of the house, the man is the provider, right? So there's a lot of, I think we're created with a lot of pressure.
There's already pressure. The moment you're born as a man.
I mean, you had to give away your rib
to
somebody else.
Can I add on that? The biblical way. Yeah. Remember when according to the Bible, when the sin started, there were punishment given to both Eve and Adam. And Adam, according to the Bible, was told that in spedi, that means you'll have to sweat for everything that you need to accomplish. You have to sweat. So you can see it might be a case from long time where we were not there, but we can try to change it. But coming to your question, awareness. Awareness. You can do awareness. It can be like this, like door to door, or where you go to a village where you have a hall or a school, where you call the villagers and to disseminate those things. They must, because the problem is the stigma. When you are depressed, they think you are insane. They think that now they must chain you, which is wrong.
Is it they or you think they think?
Where I come from, when you go to a wellness. But a wellness is not like where a deep psychiatry where you find the schizophrenic and all the stuff. A wellness is when you say, I realized now I changed. Okay, let me go and recuperate. Like when you are coughing, you go into a doctor, and the doctor diagnosed with the cold and flu, then they give you medication. Why can't we do the same thing when you feel like, no, I'm stressed now, I can't do nothing? Why don't you just book yourself in a wellness? The problem is that now we know when we grew up, like you say, I grew up in a village. If you are saying I'm stressed or I have depression, they say,
yes.
You understand? It can't let China you understand? That means bring the chains and tie him up. You understand? Which is wrong. When we need to be well, we need to get away. If we can break it, so that they can understand that when you are depressed, it's not necessarily that your mind is no longer catching network. They will say, we can put it that way. You understand?
So let me expand on that point, and then we close. I've already been signaled that we're running out of time. I think we might need to. We need to expand.
We need to do a part B.
We need to consider our time slot here. But so. What you are saying is, I think the better way to put it is, mental health is a spectrum, right?
Yes.
So it's a sliding scale, right? So there's mental wellness.
Yes.
So when you start, and before I even explain that, I think everybody suffers from anxiety and depression.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's if you ever noticed that, let's say, you, for a businessman like you, Rogers, you're working on a tender, you've submitted, you've gone for presentation, and it feels like you're gonna get it. It feels like it's a sure thing. And then when the arbitration goes through, and then you find out that you didn't make it, that's a depressive moment. You get depressed, right? Probably for a few hours or for a day. When you sleep over it and you wake up and you say, look, that's the cost of doing business. I'll get the next one. So you quickly snap out of it. But others now cannot, right?
True.
Because So because maybe you circumstances or your environment cause that situation to remain very vivid in your mind, and you carry that for long. So now you start sliding on that mental wellness scale. Right? So you're coming from just being depressed. Now you're moving forward to, anxiety, depression, and sometimes it then turns into chronic depression.
Can I quickly get
chronic anxiety.
Just a few seconds, to put it. In psychiatry, we have what we call mental continuum.
Okay.
It's two phases:
Yeah.
the well-being and the disorder.
Oh, right.
All right.
We are all first in the well-being. We are stressed,
We are
we have
stressed,
anxiety,
right.
we have little bits of moderate depression.
Yes.
Then we move into the disorder. The disorder, it's where a person is hospitalized, is being treated for major depression, it's treated for schizophrenia, it's treated bipolar, it's treated for all those mental illnesses.
Yes.
So this is where we group the mental continuum consists of the wellness and the disorder.
Okay.
Yes. So most of us, we are here in the wellness.
Yeah.
We are okay, coping well, but we still have baggages that we still have to offload and load new ones and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then when we move to the disorder, that's when we go to major depressive disorder. Depression, we just call it like that. Major depression, we move into that. That's when we need medication, we need talk therapy, we need all other allied workers to help us to go back, because it's not only one phase, it's all the phases: work, marriage, if you are married, and also personal space, which is social. I believe that we'll have time when we will have another one, then where I could at least elaborate as how to mitigate or intervene on that matter.
Amen. No, thank you very much for that, guys.
I love the way you
So,
said
guys,
amen.
we've run out of time for episode 2. Just before we end, you can see that we've kept our set quite simple and plain. We are inviting partners. If you want to partner with us, whether you're a company, an individual, a business, you want your logo displayed here, this topic is passionate to you, you want to help us spread the word, reach out to us, partner with us, and then we can discuss how we can be together on this journey. Thank you.